Okay, this is the second video on the new Phase 2 launch of my OS6 style library. So if you haven't seen the first video, definitely check it out. I'm trying to do smaller videos just so it's easier for everybody to watch, but there's a ton of new features, so you're going to want to play around with everything. So one of the other new big pieces, in addition to getting the preview using Frederick's style editor code, is this new build a sequence button. It's designed to let you design any sequence you want of any kind of effects for accents, crystal chambers, your PCB, but you can technically use it for any blade. That's just inherent with any Proffie style code. We typically, in the library, I give you main blade, secondary, which would be like your side blades on a cross guard, crystal chamber, accent. Those are really just kind of guidelines based on typical use, but you're not limited to use any which way. So the sequencer is primarily geared around accent LEDs, accent strips, the PCBs, etc. But you're not limited to that. If you like something you design and want to put it on your main blade and have fun with it, go for it. The style code runs on any blade. So we'll click in here. I had actually already set up kind of a really quick and easy sequence. The sequencer lets you set up on behavior and off behavior separately. So I didn't set any off behavior yet, but it lets you build basically just a sequence of events. And you can choose from a laundry list of styles, and there's actually a ton more coming. I haven't got all of them coded in yet. But solid color is pretty straightforward, but you can do all of these different effects, put them in place. So if I wanted to say run a Cylon effect, I could. And what's going to happen now is it's going to keep running through all this sequence. So it starts here, goes here, and goes back because it's looped. You can do it as a one-time sequence. That's a little more boring, but you can if you wanted to. Now, you're going to choose the color. So if you want to make colors editable, this is the list of editable colors. And what that means is it's going to start out based on, so this one's using base color. That means it's this color here. Alt color is defined here. Stab, drag, and emitter are used here. That's because stab, drag, and emitter, we don't actually use those effects on accents or crystals, so that allows us to use them as editable colors in here. When you go into edit mode, you would then choose the stab color of this blade to edit it. Or if you use the ProffieOS workbench, you can edit the color there as well. It would be considered stab, even though it's not a stab effect. Because the sequencer lets you build a number of sequences, I wanted to be able to give people access to edit them. Typically, your main blade, your base colors, you get base and alt, but we're able to reuse these. So that's what that means. If you want just a solid color, meaning you don't want to edit it, you can also choose from the list here. If you want a similar color or something, choose the base color or alt, or choose one of the editable colors, and then use edit mode or ProffieOS workbench to change it. In the future, I may be able to fit it so that you can do custom colors. Right now, the way the library works, it's a little too tricky for me to get that in there. So the list of colors matches color list, which is part of the OS. That's where these lists are coming from. But these would be fixed colors, meaning once you put them in, that's the color that's going to stay all the time. If you don't plan on ever editing what's going to happen with your accent sequence, you can choose those. If you want to be able to edit them on each preset, just choose one of these settings. And battery level is basically going to let you actually use your accent as a battery monitor anytime you want. So you can also set that up. But so in this case, we're running base color. It was set to red. Now this Cylon effect, so if I want to just show what that looks like, I can cut out all these other things. This is my Cylon effect, and that's the small one. Let's go with if we go to like the medium, we can go to the large. So there's a lot of options in here. Where'd you go? There you are. And then if I want to change the color, so this is using base color for this effect. If I want to change it, I can actually go in here. And they're going to change everything in real time as you make it. Now, because there's only a single setup, only option 0 essentially, it's not actually doing this portion yet of runtime and transition. But if you want it to run for more than a second, you can change this. You can also change transition. So as soon as I set the second option, so let's go to a solid color so we can see it. That's basically giving me the second option, and what's happening is it's running the Cylon in yellow or in gold for 2 seconds, then it's doing a fade over 500 seconds to the solid color of alt, which is green. It's running that for a second, and then it's doing a center wipe back, or I'm sorry, the center wipe is the transition in, not out. So transition in, so I get that fixed. Transition to means when you're changing from the one before to this one, it does a wipe. And when you're changing back, it'll do a smooth fade. let's go to a solid color on this, but we're going to do let's do a blink on that. And you can actually set how many times it blinks in. So you'll see it'll blink there. And you can mix and match and do everything you want. If we wanted to, we could do like a bar graph with a center wipe. So you'll see that running. So you can get a lot. And I mean, you can get crazy with these. You can add up to, technically it's 6 options. It goes 0 to 5, so 6 options. You can change all of the colors of them. You can have them run different timings. You can have the transitions run at different times. You have a list of transitions that you can run. And it just really lets you create some really custom looking stuff for your accents, your crystals, or whatever you want to use it for. And you can obviously do the same for your off behavior. Same, all the options exist, same thing. That would run while the blade is off. And you can add all of the other effects. So you can add your retractions, your ignitions, your clashes, your lockups, your lightning blocks, your blasts, force effect, everything else, battery level, if you want to have them on there. A lot of times your accents, you don't add all that stuff. So by default, they're turned off, but you can add them in. And you can just go to town and build and test these styles here. And then obviously once you're done, you're going to click get style code, and that'll get the code for you to add to your config. But you can play around with this all day long and mess with it, and just design whatever you want to run through your accents. And it will have, I mean, there's already several thousand options built into here. If you combine all the color, style options, plus the transitions, plus all the timings are individually customizable, both for how long the particular segment runs, and then also how long it takes to transition to the next. But I do have even more coming in for your options, as well as some new transitions. And then you'll just have more and more options to build out anything you want. And you can go totally crazy or make it really simple. So that's, oh, I wanted to show the battery one. Let me do that. So let me remove this. If I change this to battery level, so right now my battery level here in the preview is set for medium. If I have a full battery, you'll see the effect will go to green. So if you wanted an accent LED to act as a battery monitor full time, you can do that, because as you pull down this battery, this effect will change. And then when your battery gets low, it'll get towards red. Or there's also another battery option in here, which is the battery blink. Where'd you go? Battery blink. So if you want to set up an accent to run a battery blink, you can have that. So if the battery's full, it actually stays on lit all the time. If it slowly becomes lower, it'll get a subtle blink and it'll turn yellow. And again, you can also change that color. So if I want it to just always be, say I always want that particular, actually green means, if I always want that LED to be blue, but I want it to pick up blinking speed based on how low the battery gets, you can put that into effect as a single LED. You can also toggle. So this is defaulted to 5 pixels, which would be a normal accent strip or PCB. There's also the 10 pixel PCBs. You can change to that. It changes the number of pixels being shown and also the length, or if you want a single, you can see what it'll look like. So it gives you a lot of ability to see everything and test everything out before you export it to your config. So it's taken a while to get here. Obviously, a big thanks to Frederick for actually developing the style editor code, and then I took it and I modified it to work with this new capability. But play around, have fun with it, and I'm sure you guys are going to come up with some pretty crazy stuff. So hope you enjoy. There will be a few additional videos, so definitely check them out, and go enjoy the new phase 2 of my style library. Thanks.